So welcome back everybody, this is John with SwingFit. In today's video, we're going to do things a little differently. So if you happen to watch any of our other videos in the past, you know we're a big proponent of sharing as much information and knowledge with you in order to not only help you get the most out of the club fitting experience, but also just share some tips and nuggets along the way to help you better understand why a club fitter might do certain things during the fitting process in order to change a shot outcome. So if you're truly interested in dropping your scores, lowering your handicap, maybe it's just to enjoy the game a little bit better, and you think club fitting might be a good avenue in order to help you do so, then I promise you, you are in the right place. And today, we're going to actually respond to 20 or 30 of your questions in order to help you find the answers that you're searching for. So without further ado, let's jump in. So before we dive deep into your questions, I do want to take a quick second to welcome any new viewers to the channel. So if this happens to be your first time, or if you're just passing through, then please do yourself a favor. Consider hitting that subscribe button below. Turn on that bell so this way each and every single week you will receive an alert when we drop our new content, because I surely would hate for you to miss out on any of the golden nuggets that we pass on, any of the information that we share, our customers' lessons learned, in an attempt to help you take your game to another level. And just like in today's video, we are going to peel back the layers and dive deep into a club fitter's mind. I mean, literally, it's just straight up off the cuff. I have 20 to 30 questions that Dakota has already picked out. And just to let you know, I haven't seen these questions. And this way, you know, we're going to just run the camera, press record, and this just might be the easiest video he's ever edited. I mean, literally, it's just, you know, bare bones, ask a question, get an answer, and just kind of like just see what's up. So I'm kind of curious to see which questions he picked out, and I'm also kind of a little nervous along the way. So, you know, let's jump in with the very first question, which is, I've struggled with a slice practically all of my life and was curious if there are any clubs out there that can help. And it's not a bad first question. And yes, there are clubs out on the market that can help you mitigate the slice. Now, truth be told, there's not a single driver that's on the market that's going to help you eliminate the slice altogether, right? Just the gear itself can't fix the slice, because if we understand why we are slicing, and that just means that our swing path is actually going left of our target while the club face is pointing right of the target, and it's that curvature and that separation that is causing the ball to veer off its intended target line. And now all that's doing is tilting that horizontal spin axis on a golf ball one way or the other. So the golf club's design and role is to kind of really help you square up that club face to get it more aligned with the direction that you're swinging. So once again, you know what? You will have to address a little bit of the technique in order to get those windows a little tighter, so that way you don't have as far as separation, but the golf clubs can help. And some of the best drivers I like for mitigating the slice is the brand new Ping 425 SFTs. The straight flight technologies, really, really good. I love the high MOI in it, makes it very forgiving on those off-center hits. Cobra has a draw bias driver, which is also good. The PXG Proto, which you already know that I love. And then probably a sleeper that not a lot of people know about is the TaylorMade draw bias driver. And why I like this one the most is because this one has the lowest loft in all of the ones we talked about. So there is a 9-degree draw bias driver. And why this is significant is that if you need more draw bias correction and want to close that face, you can actually do so by using that law sleeve. So you can turn that 9 into 10 degrees or 10 and a half just to give you a little bit more correction. So definitely not a bad fit, but really, really good question. So let's get into question number 2, which is, I hear you talk about swing weight a lot in your videos. What is it really, and why is it so important? So first things first, let me get this off my chest, because swing weight is probably the most overlooked element in the entire fitting process. And it's one of the reasons why we won't do a single fitting without evaluating someone's proper swing weight. And just to help you understand why it's so critical is swing weight is nothing more than the weight distribution of that golf club. Where's the mass located in the golf club, right? You're either going to have more mass down towards the head, aka heavier swing weights, or you're going to have more mass up towards the handle, counterweight designs to kind of, make the swing weight lighter. And depending on a customer and their delivery, you might need to go lighter than industry standard or heavier than industry standard. And just for the record, industry standard has been D2 for as long as I know. Now, I will say that there are some drivers out on the market that's pushing that envelope because we're seeing longer lengths. So at the same head weights that they have been producing at longer lengths, that's just moving that head further away from the handle. So that's going to make the swing weights play a little bit heavier. So if you recently bought a new driver and felt that, man, this just feels like a brick, there's a pretty good chance that it's playing at a heavier swing weight. And one of the best ways to offset that is to swap out your grip. Swap it out to a mid-size grip, which is going to clock in about 10 to 12 grams heavier. And that's just going to be enough counterweight to kind of bring you back down to that D2 swing weight. So that's a good little tip there for you. But, one of the things that I absolutely love about swing weight is it's just another element to create better timing for our customers. I'm talking about getting in and out of the turf as clean and as efficiently as we can, as well as just to help them find center of face. The golf shaft plays an paramount role with helping us do so, but swing weight is another piece, and I've seen as little as 5 grams. I'm talking the weight of a nickel be all the difference in the world to help our customers turn a bad shot into a great shot and fall in love with their golf clubs again. So really good question, and heck, we probably could have led off with that one because it's probably one of my favorite aspects in the fitting process because, it's an easy change. Heck, it's a change that you can potentially do yourself just by getting some high density lead tape from your local sporting goods store, order it online through GolfWorks, and just add some extra mass down low and see if you like and gravitate towards a better or heavier swing weight. So guys, give it a try and you just might be surprised. And if you have tried it, leave your comments below and let me know, have you tried that? I mean, you can actually even just interchange some of the weights in some of these club designs to actually make it lighter or heavier, and that is easier, and it's just a club fitter's dream to be able to make these changes on the fly. And if we can see those results day in and day out, I'm pretty confident that if you were to tinker around with some of this stuff your own, there's no disputing. You'll know instantly whether you like it or you hate it. So definitely give it a try. So let's move on to question number 3, and that is, can you help me understand how club fitting works? So somewhat of kind of like a loaded question, but kind of like just to boil it down in as simple terms as I possibly can. Club fitting is really defined like 3 different things, okay? The number one job for a club fitter is to really, help you identify what is going on with your swing, right? You're seeing certain shots out in the wild, okay? Either you're struggling with the slice, the hook, high launch, balloon flights, low spin, knuckleballs, just whipping all out, right? So we need to understand what's really going on to find the correct solution. So, your club fitter is going to be your number one problem solver, and that's what we're really trying to do, is we don't know exactly what's going to fit you best until the very end when we're trying different options, but we do know what we're trying to mitigate. So we got to understand, what is the problem we're trying to solve first and foremost. The second piece of that is we got to, eliminate one side of the golf course, right? So there's a pretty good chance, you're probably missing to both sides. Even though you might slice it to one side or snap hook it, you're going to get that occasional miss to the other, and you might feel you have a two-way miss. Well, if that's a situation, we need to identify, what is your dominant miss, and try to mitigate that and take it out of the equation so that way you no longer fear that side of the golf course. So then the third and probably the most important piece of the fit element is to help you find center of face, right? That's where we know max ball speed lives, and this is where the timing element comes into play, where we got to find the best golf shaft, the best golf head, in order to work together so that way you can find center of face. And yes, the golf shaft does matter. So guys, definitely if you feel that you can just pick up any golf club and swing it, or you played this one driver all your life and you just upgraded to the latest and greatest and pull that shaft out and put it into the new driver, pretty good chance that that's not going to play the same way because of how that club head is actually marrying up with that golf shaft. So I'm diving a little bit deeper into the weeds on you kind of like, the significance of the golf shaft, but literally, this is just, one of the last elements that a club fitter is trying to do is if we can tighten up your stand pattern, get you center face, help you create a timing element to make you more consistent on a golf course, make your misses suck less, right? And actually bring that dispersion in tighter. You know what? That's the name of the game. So let's move on to question number 4. How long have you been fitting golf clubs, and do you have any advice for getting started? So I've been actually fitting golf clubs for the past 8 years now. Yeah, so 3 years in our new facility, 5 years in our basement. So I've been doing this for about 8 years, been in the industry for a little over 13 years. So I started out just tinkering around building golf clubs. And that's kind of like where I got started. So, if you are interested in getting into the club fitting aspect, right, I highly encourage anybody to do an internship, volunteer at your local club fitting shop, go to your golf course, and start understanding as much as you possibly can about the gear itself. Literally just, learn what is the impacts of swing weight, and by using different styles of grips, changing the length of the golf clubs, how does that affect somebody's ability to square the club up? So if you can understand, all these different variables about how to build a golf club, it's just going to make you a better club fitter in the long run, and it is an excellent place to get started. So it's a really, really good question. So let's move on. Question number 5. I'm currently in the middle of making some major technique changes and just afraid of going through the fitting process until I feel my technique is up to par. Is this something I should be concerned about, or is it okay to go ahead and get fit now? And that's a really, really good question. It's a question we get asked a lot. And here is my 2 cents on this topic. And that is, unless you are embarking on a speed campaign, a la Bryson DeChambeau, you're trying to just swing out of your shoes and get as much distance as you possibly can, I say it's 100% okay to go through the fit process. And here is my logic and explanation of why I think that's okay. And that is there's a pretty good chance that any of the changes or recommendations that your coach or your instructors will make, he's not really trying to re-architect or redevelop your golf swing. He's just trying to get you to feel a different position, maybe to get you to swing a little bit more in to out versus out to in, trying to get you a little bit better body position, maybe a little better pressure shift so that way you're not sliding. There's a whole slew of things that could potentially be impacting your golf game, but all of these things I would consider are classified to be minor swing adjustments, right? Not something that's going to alter the golf clubs that you may be currently playing or would like to get fit for. But once again, if you are doing a speed program, right, where you're going to affect your rhythm, your tempo, or your pace and the speed of the transition, then definitely, I would consider holding off, because there's a pretty damn good chance at the end of that campaign, you're going to need some pretty stout requirements in order to keep up with that newfound speed. So definitely, if you are in the midst of going through some technique changes, don't be afraid. Go ahead and get fit. And then just share with your fitter, what are some of the challenges that you're working with your current coach on, so that way when he's building your clubs, not only is he building the clubs for your current swing, but he can also help you build a set of clubs for the future swing, okay? So definitely really, really good question. So let's move on. Where are you guys located, and do you fit remotely? So we're currently located in the Eastern Panhandle of West Virginia. So we like to, we're kind of conveniently located in the tri-state area. So, tucked in between, West Virginia, Maryland, and Virginia, the Northern Virginia, like DC region. So we're right there. We're about 2.5 hours from Philadelphia, 4.5 hours from New York, 5 hours from Columbus, Ohio, and then maybe 12 hours from Atlanta, Georgia. I only know that because we had a customer come up there, make the trek. Do we fit remotely? Currently, we do not. There's a lot of challenges that go behind fitting remotely. So with that said, that's not something that we're currently in a position to do. I will say with the advancement of technology that those are getting a lot better, and it can get you really, really dang on close. So I'm not going to undermine or devalue, what you can get by doing the online fitting process. I'm just, here to state that, unfortunately, we're not in a position where we can do that. So right now, the only thing we can help our customers is in person. So really, really good question. What is the most common thing you see customers do that impacts their swing? I mean, that's kind of a loaded question because there's a lot of things that I can think of that really just kind of come off the top of my head that, impacts customers. So if I probably were to say one thing, right, just one thing and one thing only, it would be tempo. I think a lot of our customers try to swing the golf club too fast, and they're loading the club too hard in the transition, right? And what I mean by that is on the way up, a lot of our customers, just want to quickly jerk the club up, and then they have to reverse that transition to get the club to go the other direction. And whenever you do that, not only are you shortening the time that you have to actually get your body in the correct positions to square the face up, but you're also putting a lot of excess load on that golf club itself, because not only you got force going up, but you also got force coming on the way down, and that's a lot of moving going on. So here, I always like to tell or use the analogy with our customers is that think of the golf swing like a roller coaster, slow to the top and then pull the trigger, right? You don't have to be like, our latest Masters winner, Hideki Matsuyama, and actually have the pause at the top. It's what works well for him. But what I'm just saying is enjoy this ride up, then pull the trigger, so that way you can get the body to start firing first, right? And understand that we do need the golf swing to start from the ground up, not from the top down. And that's probably one of the number one things I see that does impact our customers. So tempo and slowing it down. So really, really good question. So moving on, question number 8. Blah, 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 just grab a club and hit. I knew you was going to throw one in here at some point in time, Dakota. I guess that's what I get for not reading these in advance. But anyhow, just grab a club and hit the ball. I do not have a problem with playing very, very well. Never been fit before, and I'm currently a 4 handicap. So not sure if it's really of a question, but I will say you're not alone. There's several customers that, have graced our facility and are really, really good golfers. And it doesn't matter what I put in their hands, they can just naturally, find center face and hit the ball. I mean, I could put them in a ladies flex, right? And they hit the ball just fine, right? It will take them 2 or 3 swings in order to make the adjustments they need. But you know what? My explanation for you is, be blessed that you have a great athletic ability, right? The guys that we see on YouTube that just, can hit a golf club a country mile, right? Hit it with a garden hose and still get it to go a pretty good ways. It's like you could put a pool noodle in their hands and they can still get a great result, right? And that is just a testament to their God-given athletic ability. But unfortunately, not all of us have been blessed or graced with that athletic ability, and this is where club fitting can potentially help. So definitely, my man, thank you for chiming in. I would just say, you're currently a 4 handicap, could potentially maybe get you a little bit lower if you did go through the fitting process. So just reach out and maybe we can help. So moving on, I watched another video where a famous YouTuber said golf shafts really doesn't matter. Do you agree? I'm not going to dive deep into this, okay, guys? The beautiful thing about this platform is that we all are entitled to our personal take, right? Our perspective, our opinion. And you know what? What I share with you, and I hope you just take it with a grain of salt, is that not every piece of information I do share is going to resonate with you. it just may miss the mark. And you might be inclined to say, you know what, hey, this guy doesn't know what he's talking about. I'm going to tune out, right? But there might be another video or another piece of information that may resonate. And once again, you know what, just because another, YouTuber says that golf shaft doesn't matter, I just chalk that up to maybe just a lack of understanding or maybe a lack of experience with understanding, all the different bend profiles and how these bend profiles can help somebody overcome, the shot outcomes that they're seeing. And it's one of the reasons why we have more than 400 plus golf shafts in our matrix, because we know every single shaft will do things just a little differently. So, you know what? Yeah, let's just leave it at that. So question number 10 is, why do most fitters fit inside? I've done a fitting before and I found it a little hard to hit indoors. Wouldn't it be better to actually see the ball flight? You know what, 100%. I'm not going to dispute that. I personally like to see the flight of the ball. I also like being able to see, where my aim point is. And indoors, in such a confined space, it can be a little tough or challenging, to make sure that you're setting up properly to hit that desired shot shape. But with that said, and having done both, I will offer this as, my 2 cents. And that is, I will never go back to doing outdoor fittings for this very reason. And that is, I do not have the ability to control the outside elements, right? And I'm talking about Mother Nature, of course. You show up for a fitting, there's nothing worse than you have 7 fits lined up and it's raining, right? And believe me, I've been outside and no cover whatsoever and wearing ponchos, right? But you gotta move on. And you got to make other concessions, right? So unless you have the ability to have a covered area, it's a little tough. But then, on top of that, what happens if it's not raining and it's just windy, right? I'm talking like 10 mile an hour, 15 mile an hour gust of wind. How do you know what is the influence of Mother Nature and what is the influence of the actual combination that you put in the customer's hand, right? And that is really, really tough. And I will say, for those that do fit outside, my hat's off to you, because you have to actually use your experience to be able to manipulate that ball flight based off what you're seeing to determine, is that Mother Nature or is it, what we just did? So your expertise and knowledge is probably a little bit more deeper than that of somebody with just an indoor background only. But once again, having done both, I probably won't go back to outdoors. The other piece is just, I like being inside, right? We're able to just get in and out, try everything, and I can just have more options. When you're outdoors, you're limited to what you can actually bring outside, right? Maybe you're reduced to maybe 100 shafts versus 400. Maybe you don't have the full complement of heads. So inside, I can definitely just have more options at my disposal in order to find the best fit. So another great question, so let's move on. So I just took a look. We have 10 more questions to go. So we have 20 questions that Dakota picked out. So good pulse check here. Are you finding value in this information we're sharing with you today? If you are, do me a favor. Smash that thumbs up and leave any questions or comments in the remarks below, because hopefully, as you see, it's never just a simple yes or no response with us and the channel. As you know, we always want to dive deeper. We always want to provide you the context, so that way when you do make a decision, you're making it based off of the best information that we feel that can help you do so. So guys, if you are finding value, smash that thumbs up. So number 11. Who is your favorite YouTube golf influencer? So I'm guessing we're referring to, like, who do we like to watch on YouTube? And there's a handful of them. So, quite honestly, we don't have a lot of time because, in between fits, making videos of our own. But there is a couple of people that I do have my favorites that anytime I get an alert, I will watch their video. No disputing, the godfather of club fitting, Ian Fraser up at TXG, hands down, I am where I am today. We are where we're at today with the company, in part because of his influence. So definitely Ian Fraser up at TXG. Alex Etches, one, I like his content. I like his style, his flavor. I like how he interjects his personality into the videos. They're never boring, very informative, does really good product reviews, and keeps me locked in from start to finish. So Alex Etches at Golf Box, definitely good stuff there. Mr. Short Game is another great resource. I mean, I like his stuff. I've been watching his stuff for a long time. Also very energetic, and you can tell he's passionate about what he does. I think what separates Mr. Short Game's channel from some of the others is he offers not only some reviews, but he offers some good tips and advice that you can make, you know, it very applicable to your golf game. And I think it's those bonus nuggets that really differentiates his channel from everyone else. And then there's two golf instructors that really come to top of mind that if you are in need of refining your technique, right? You cannot go wrong by looking up either one of these two guys. First one is Eric Agorno out of Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. Runs an online instructing platform called Eric Agorno Golf. Very, very good, very detail-oriented, breaks down a golf swing better than probably some of many of the others that's out there, and very, very great. He's got a great coaching staff to kind of help you take your game to another level, so check Eric Agorno out. And the guys at Top Speed Golf. So Clay Ballard, Robin Rosado down there. I mean, both of them I've known for a very, very long time. And those guys are also doing something that just, you know, raises the bar, you know, above and beyond. Very, very popular on YouTube. And they have a plethora of content. So if you're looking for some technique advice, you can't go wrong by looking in either one of those directions. Question 12. I had a bad fitting experience where I went in with the slice and left with the slice. We tried this and tried that, but nothing appeared to work. It almost looked as if the fitter was playing whack-a-mole. And at the end of the fit, I left with no new golf clubs. Question is, why don't fitters help with technique or offer coaching advice during a fitting session? That's a really good question, and Dakota, you did a great job picking these questions out. So let me respond to this in two parts. The first part is, we only have 60 to 90 minutes with you, and there's only so much we can do in a finite period of time. So we can't boil the ocean, and we have to make a decision really, really quickly on what is attributed to the technique and what is attributed to the golf clubs. And in this situation, we always tell our customers, we'll show you the art of the possible and show you what we can do through the golf clubs and get you half of the way. The other half of the way will be dependent upon you correcting these things we identified during the fitting session. So if you remember back to an earlier question, one of the number one things that a fitter's trying to do is we're trying to identify what problems we need to solve, right? Do you have a path issue? Do you have a face-to-path issue? Do you have an AOA issue? Whatever it may be, we're gonna be able to at least give you that information so you can take that back to a swing coach to really work on that other side of the coin. They do go hand in hand. You can't do one without the other. And if your true aspiration is to take your game to another level, you do need to work on both the gear and the technique side. And some fitting establishments will offer coaching advice like ours. You know, I'm a firm believer that, you know, if I don't offer the advice when I see it happening as it occurs, then that's a lost opportunity to potentially, you know, plant a seed or steer the customer in a different direction. But once again, that's all going to come down to comfort, you know, zone, like with that fitter. Are they comfortable with offering that advice? And two, their experience level. So not all fitters are created equal, and if you just ask up front, you might be surprised of which fitters will offer that and which ones don't, and it might steer you into one fitter versus another in the same establishment based on that information. So once again, ask up front, and you just might have a different result. Question 13. My 10-year-old son loves golf with a passion, and he sleeps with his putter at night. So that's really, really cool. It's better than sleeping with one of those pocket game consoles or playing around on the cell phone. And at what age should I consider getting him fit? So definitely here would be my posture and stance in this regards. And that is we have a firm policy that we don't like fitting junior golfers before the age of 13. Now this is just a personal preference piece. I know there are fitters out there that will fit as young as 5 years old, but for me, I just think that is a money machine, right? Why? Because every single year from 5 to 13, they're continuing to grow. They're going to outgrow their clubs quicker than anything, and building a club that's longer, you know, to get multiple years out of it is potentially doing your son a disservice because he is going to have to make some adjustments or some accommodations just to play the longer clubs. So it's a good school of thought of, hey, maybe we build stiffer, maybe we build longer to get a couple years to help save a little money. But once again, that could potentially just cause, you know, your son or your child to kind of, you know, make some adaptations limitations in order to swing the club differently because they're a little longer or heavier. So there, I always say is, look at one of these, kids programs. The U.S. Kids program is really, really good. And Ping has probably got one of the better kids program because they actually offer a free upgrade in their system. So you actually buy a set of clubs 1 year, they'll fit them out, send them to you, and then, whenever you deem fit and those clubs are no longer the right size, you send them back to Ping, they'll rebuild them with longer shafts, better swing weights, and then put them back in your hands. And they're going to do that at no charge. I think maybe all you have to do is pay shipping and handling. But once again, that's how I would approach anything from 13 and under. Once you get 13, then we can start actually, they've reached their peak height a little bit, maybe another 5 to 6 inches tops, but then they'll at least have the muscle dexterity to kind of accommodate a little longer length, a little heavier swing weight. So definitely a great question. So question 14, does the golf ball matter, and do you have any advice for helping someone pick the right ball? So the golf ball 100% matters, and we actually have a whole selection of golf balls in our cabinet that we will pull out to help somebody fine-tune their shot outcome. Literally, the golf ball does make that big of a difference, but there is a couple suggestions in regards to helping you pick out the right golf ball. And basically what I would recommend is start out with 3 or 4 sleeves, go to the golf course, and start at the putting green. So what you're going to do is you're going to work yourself back from green to tee, which is almost the exact opposite of how most people approach the ball fitting aspect. So work yourself backwards and, putt maybe 4 or 5 putts with each sleeve. Get a pen and pad, and I want you to pay attention to how does the ball feel, right? Coming off the face. Is it firm or soft? And then there, you just got to make a personal preference, decision. Which one do you like better? Second piece is, how did it come off the face? Did it hop, skid, and jump off the face, or did it just kind of just roll off the face? Jot that down. Here, you're not really looking to weed any of them out at this phase. You're just looking to see which one actually performed better, okay? And then the third one is which one gets you the closest proximity to the hole, right? So those are the 3 core metrics that you're looking at from a putting perspective. Then I want you to go to the collar of the putting green and do some chips. And you're going to almost do the exact same thing with the wedge, right? Whatever wedge you chip with, and do the exact same assessment, okay? Once again, we're not weeding out any balls. We're just, jotting down which one kind of felt better. And what you're going to start to see is the one that always kind of comes to the top. So then we're going to go to our mid iron. So go out to the golf course, get yourself at a 7-iron distance, 160, 165. If you're a little shorter, doesn't matter, but get yourself at that distance and then hit a sleeve of balls in, all right? So you're going to, if you got 4 sleeves, you're going to hit 12 shots into the green, and then there you're looking at 2 things here. One, how did the ball come off to the face, right? Did it kind of look like it ballooned up? Did it actually kind of, look a little lower launching, a little lower penetrating flight? Just pay attention to that. And then there, once you get up to the green, which one was closer to the hole, right? Here we are going to start to make our first, selection as far as, getting rid of maybe 1 or 2 balls that are outliers. So if it didn't feel good, pass a sniff test at the putt or the chips, and it didn't perform well at the mid iron, then definitely you shouldn't be considering it. And then last but not least, go to the tee box, right? You should have left with maybe 2 or 3 sleeves, hit them, and see exactly what's going on. Here, literally, you're going to find that the golf balls is probably very, very close in proximity, but the big thing I really want you to pay a notice to is, 1, make sure that there's not a lot of wind going on, so that cannot be potentially viewed as a variable, right? And then 2, pay attention to the curvature of the ball. You might notice that one golf ball curves more than that of the other. If it did, put an asterisk down there because that's not a ball that you want to go with if it's curving offline, because there's a pretty good chance that it might have been a mishit, okay? But once again, you want a ball that's forgiving, that's going to work well with you from tee to green, and that would be my advice. So another great question, so let's move on. Question 15, what are your plans for growing SwingFit? Are you thinking about a franchise, more locations? Would love to come see you, but currently live in California. So my man, would love to have you, so come on out. So as travel restrictions, ease up, definitely come on out, especially if you're coming out in the DC region, maybe for some vacations, take a pit stop, come see us. We can definitely get you squared away. But for the time being, no future expansions. I mean, literally at least outside of where we're currently at. So we are thinking about adding on in addition to our current facility. We want to go from 3 bays to 5 bays where we have 2 dedicated fit bays, 3 bays for technique practice for our customers. So this way, once we get them fit, they have an opportunity to come and use the same technology to refine their technique. And we're looking at a bigger dedicated build shop. So our build shop is actually going to be pretty huge. So can't wait to get that under wraps. And I know Dakota is looking forward to getting out of the little small closet we got him in. But definitely, those are the 2 immediate things that we're looking at for the current operation. But, who knows? Maybe down the road, might be a couple of satellite locations in the works. So question 16. I'm a big fan of My Golf Spy and love their best of categories they do every year. With that said, do you agree with their results and do you have any plans with doing any videos with your best of recommendations? You know what? I haven't really given any thought. I do follow the My Golf Spy crew. I like what they do. I like their validations and the testing, right? Anytime somebody puts that much thought process and rigor into testing products, just for the benefit of the consumer, you can't go wrong, right? I really do, my hat's off to them. I applaud them because I know just testing clubs internal, it can be a bear sometimes. So definitely, kudos to those guys. In regards to us doing any of those videos, yeah, I think that's a really cool idea, and we could potentially do our best clubs for fighting a slice, our best clubs for fighting the hook, and there's probably so many different ways we could go with that. So thanks for the suggestion. We're definitely going to heed that advice and look for some videos in the future on that one. So question 17. I watch several videos and love the channel. Any chance you can do a video on one-length irons and talk about who they are best suited for? I mean, wow, that's another great video recommendation. And definitely it's on the docket. We are still waiting on a couple of our one-length fit heads to come in because we just don't want to do a 7-iron comparison. We want to actually do, really a full one-length review, 5-iron, maybe 7-iron, maybe a pitching wedge, so to speak, and kind of show you how we take our customers through the process. So, but definitely in the works. Another great video suggestion. So awesome. Question 18. So we're almost done, guys. So we're getting down here to the end. What is your favorite club to fit and why? All right, so personal approach. Okay, so favorite club to fit probably would be wedges. And the reason I love wedges is because, that really allows me to open up my customers' arsenal around the golf course, right? Escape trouble, right? Really to get 3 wedges that they can use in maybe 15 to 20 different type of scenarios, right? Beach like sand, hard packed sand, tight lies, fluffy lies, pine straw, gallery stands, no matter what, I mean, you're going to have an opportunity to select and choose a right wedge based off of, the kind of the situation that you may encounter. And that's why I'm a big fan of wedges. I love wedges. A lot of customers just, overlook the wedges, downplay it, but choosing the right bounce and grind, in which we recently did a wedge fitting series on how we take our customers through the process. And if you haven't checked that out, definitely there'll be links down below. You give them a great watch. I mean, it's a great insight into how we take our customers through the process. But once again, love wedges. So 2 questions left. Once again, I truly hope you guys are finding value in this information. And once again, if you would love to do like a live club fitting Q&A, just, second the notion, put a little comment below. Let us know that you would be interested, and we'll make an announcement when we will do it. But I'm really thinking that based on these questions, it might not be a bad idea. So let's go knock these last 2 questions out. Question 19. I'm thinking about doing a full bag fitting, but wasn't for sure if it's really worth it. Or is this just another way for a club fitter to get into my pocket? Well, I'm going to respond to that question in a 2-part answer. The first part is, Are you looking to play competitively? Are you looking to drop your handicap as low as you possibly can? You're looking to really compete for that, club membership championship at the end of the season. If your answer is to yes to any of those, then I would highly encourage you to look at all 14 clubs in your bag, because you should have 14 favorites, not just one. So don't minimize yourself by just looking at one or two. Look at all 14. Second part is, how old are your golf clubs? Are they older than 5 years? Why? Because 5 years is really that sweet spot of when, modern day advancements in the technology and how OEMs are now making their golf clubs will catch up, and those compounded, increments will multiply year over year. If you was just to upgrade your clubs, every single year, you're pretty much wasting your money, because you're going to see marginal improvements. But compounded over a 5-year term, definitely you're going to see some pretty significant gains. And what I can tell you is every single club in the bag today, right, driver to putter, hasn't been forgotten. I'm talking every single club. Manufacturers are now making them a little bit different. Wedges are being made differently. Putters are being made differently. Drivers are 100% being made differently. So if your clubs are more than 5 years old, it is 1,000% time to get some new sticks, and you would definitely be a great candidate to go through a full bag session. So awesome question. And the last question of the day, last but not least, is, why is club fitting so expensive? And seriously, would I be able to tell the difference between a fitted club and something I just bought off the rack? The old cost versus performance debate has reared its ugly head once again. And this is definitely something that we cannot escape in every single fitting session. And it's one of the very first questions we will ask our customers up front, and that is, what is your budget? What are you looking to get out of the golf clubs, and how much are you willing to spend? And it's not an attempt to identify how deep your pockets are, by no means, but it is an attempt to kind of narrow down the options that we will pull out of the cabinet, so that way we don't have any sticker shock moments. But to answer the question specifically, yes, there is a difference, and we would like to think that our customers' reactions and results, once we put them in an aftermarket version and compare that to the stock, is just night and day difference. And then once again, it comes down to their budget and what they're willing to spend, but we always empower our customers to make that choice. Now, I do know that some fitting establishments won't offer stock shafts, or don't even have any of the fitting carts, the OEM elements in their establishments, but that is a personal preference piece that they have made. And for us, we feel that we're potentially doing our customers a disservice by not at least exploring that, because there are some great stock shaft offerings out there. TaylorMade's RDX is using the RDX line. That's great. Titleist is using it, and it's been a great stock shaft. Ping has several great stock shafts in their lineup. So once again, there is something for everybody out there, but just, set your fitter's expectations up front, and I promise you, you would not be disappointed. So at the end of the day, we truly hope you found value in this information we shared with you today. Although a little longer, hopefully this is a precursor to that of what a live club fitting event would look like. Once again, our goal isn't to just, provide a simple yes/no answer. We want to go deeper into the weeds to give you that context, so that way you can truly connect the dots. So if you have any questions or comments, do me a favor, leave them in the remarks below. And until next week, please do not forget to take a look at a couple of these videos over here, because there is a plethora of nuggets waiting over there to help you take your game to another level. So thanks again for watching.